Welcome to the Starting Your Studies in July webinar. My name is Justine, and you also notice that we have Dougal online. So Dougal will be answering any questions as we go through, and we'll get to that in a moment. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the Palawa Pakana of Lutruwita, the traditional owners of the land upon which we live and work. We pay respects to elders past and present as the knowledge holders and sharers in our community. We honour their strong culture and knowledge as vital to the self-determination, well-being and resilience of their communities. We stand for a future that profoundly respects and acknowledges Aboriginal perspectives, culture, language and history. So as I mentioned, Dougal is here to answer questions as we move through the presentation. We'd like to answer as many of them as we go, just so we don't run out of time at the end. Please use the question and answer button along the bottom of your screen, and please be aware there are no silly questions. So if you do have a question, just pop them in there and we'll get to them as soon as we can. So today we're going to cover why you might want to study at the University of Tasmania, what that study will look like, how you manage your work, life and study balance, the fees and costs associated with university, along with the scholarships and financial support available. There's also a range of student supports that we'll have a look at. We'll then discuss how you apply to university. And then again, at the end, we'll address some of the questions that you may have submitted throughout the webinar. And we'll also address any new questions that come in at the end. So this is a quote from one of our adult learners. So Felicity returned to study a Master of Social Work after being out in the workforce. So I think it's quite a great quote and a bit inspirational, to be honest. So you always regret something you've not done, but you don't regret anything you've attempted or tried. It's okay to be stretched and pushed. That's where you grow. It doesn't matter what age you are, you can achieve it. So we do have students that range in age from school leaver right through to retirees. Recently, we had a graduate in their 80s. So university is for everyone, no matter what your age. Why the University of Tasmania? We certainly bat above our average in a number of areas. Student satisfaction is one. So students are quite happy, well above the average compared nationally to other universities. They enjoy the quality of teaching, and we also have very strong graduate outcomes. So 80% full-time employment for our undergraduate students and 96% for postgraduate. Of that 82%, not all students who finish their undergraduate degree will go straight out and look for work. Some of them will go on to research, or they might even have a break before they find employment. Student support, so I did mention that earlier, whether you need help with your academic studies or whether it's career guidance towards the end of your degree. It could just be that you want someone to talk to, or it could be that you're having some personal issues and you might want to see a counsellor. There's a whole range of supports at the university to support you right through your program. We're also #1 in the world for climate action, and we have been for the past 4 years. It's something that we are super proud of, and we incorporate our climate action and sustainability into many facets of the university, from studies to research to clubs that you can become involved in. So let's talk about work, life and study balance tips. So there are a range of supports available to you. They can be accessed through our online Milo system or through your student portal. You'll be introduced to those as you become enrolled in your course. And there are calendars and schedules that you can access through those supports, whether that be through Milo or through your student portal. The calendars allow you to plan, note your due dates, your what you've got coming up in the months ahead, map out your weeks and days. And if you're a very visual person, they're great because you can stick it up on the wall and you'll be able to see exactly what's coming up. You can pop in your sporting, work commitments, add everything in so that you've got it all in the one place. Calendar is great because university works on a 13-week semester. So it really does allow you to plan that 13 weeks when you know you're going to have quite a bit of study. There's a range of workplace supports that are available to some people depending on where you work. So you might be entitled to study time in your workplace. It could be that you can use it as a professional development, or it might be that your employer gives you so many hours a week to actually attend classes. It can be difficult to prioritise commitments, but when you do take on studies, it is critical that you allow time to attend your lectures and attend your classes. Sometimes that is at the detriment to something else, but as I said, a semester is 13 weeks and you can always come back to that other hobby or activity outside of the normal semesters. Self-care and taking care of yourself is critical to avoid burnout. It's also quite useful in avoiding unnecessary stresses and sicknesses. So if you're looking after yourself and you're making sure that you take time out to care for yourself, that will make your whole semester a much better experience as well. If you need help, ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what we're here for, and that's why we have a range of support systems in place. Let the people around you know that you're studying. Let them support you. If you need to take time out away from them, just let them know that at this point in time, you're prioritizing that part of your life and that you'll still be there. So it's all about, I guess, time management and looking after yourself, but also being prepared to ask for help when you need it. So every degree is structured slightly differently. Each degree is made up of several units or subjects, and full-time study is for 12.5% units at once. So part-time can be as little as one 12.5% unit, and full-time is actually, for Centrelink purposes, 3 units a semester. So a 75% load over a year would also equate to full-time. So you'll find, depending on what you're studying, that you might have classes in person or online. Different schools will have lectures in person. A lot of the lectures will be online. And then there'll generally be discussion and activities related to the week's topic. So the frequency of these classes will vary. It might be 1 or 2 a week. And you might also have other types of activities such as pracs and labs and things. There's quite a bit of self-directed study when you get to university. So you'll have your lectures and your classes, but you'll also have online readings and other learning activities that you will undertake using our Milo system, which stands for My Learning Online. And often you'll do this reading and the online activities before you actually go to class. And the class is a more hands-on tool, and you'll attend those activities. There'll be things like placements, laboratories, workshops, or tutorials, and they'll often be very small in number. So your tutes and pracs will be quite small. So it's a lot more of an intimate way of going through the work that you have done before you get to that practical hands-on side. Assessment is also quite unique depending on the course that you study. So every unit is assessed with a different method. So some might be assignments, others will include a mixture of assignments, quizzes, presentations, exams, or observations. I even did a unit last year where a podcast was part of the assessment. So it is quite varied, which is great because you'll actually get a lot of different experiences out of the units that you study. One of the topics, I guess, that we hear a lot about at the moment is investing in your future, and a university education is definitely doing that. Studies have shown that any qualification will boost your income earning potential. So long-term bachelor degree, the starting salary is around 71,000, and then after a couple of years, that certainly would grow to about 83,000. So for postgraduate degrees, that's higher, and it's also higher depending on the degree. So if there is more jobs in a particular area, then the salary would be higher in a lot of those situations. Over the next 10 years, around half of all new jobs created in Australia will require a bachelor degree or higher qualification. So there's a critical shortage, even at the moment, in a range of careers. And as we move forward, the demand for skilled um, graduates and for critical thinkers and for people to go into jobs that have the skills that you get from obtaining a degree is going to really jump in Australia. So graduates are going to be in hot demand. There are quite a few other additional benefits to studying a degree. So university graduates have a stronger health outcome, are more productive in both their work and personal lives. And studies have also shown that further education is linked to greater happiness and well-being, which is quite a good thing. So we talk about cost. There's been quite a lot in the last year or so in the media about cost of degrees. This kind of shows you the actual full-time price for a degree. So when you look at this, every unit you study under your degree has two fees. One is a student and services and amenities fee, or SAF, and the other is the government subsidised Commonwealth supported fee, or HEX, help you may have heard of. So when you look at the bands are set by the government. And if you are looking at, for example, agriculture or nursing, education, English or maths, psychology, then you band 1, which is the lower fee band. That is the cost of a full-time equivalent study load per year. So if you're part-time, then that would also reduce. So for example, this is last year's fee. If you're studying nursing as a full-time student, you'd be looking at 4,445, and it would be half of that if you were studying 50% less. So there is a great website called Study Assist that explains all of that much better than I just did, and it will go through how the fees work, how you pay them back. The most important thing, I guess, to take away is that you can start your course and defer all your fees. And then once you are out and working in your profession and earning over around $54,000 a year, you start to pay your fees back through the taxation system. So have a look at that Study Assist website if you do want to dive deeper into the fees for university. One of the ways that we support students with the financial cost of university is through scholarships. So scholarships are basically free money. And there are a range of scholarships, whether they're university or they could be offered by an external organisation like a bank or Rotary. There are literally hundreds of scholarships offered every year to students. Workplaces will also contribute towards cost of education depending on where you work. You might be eligible to have some of your fees covered, or as I said before, they might provide you with time off. Scholarships will open various times of the year, depending on which semester you're starting. It's worth having a look at the scholarships page. You can create a profile by going into the scholarships portal, and you can apply for all the scholarships that you believe you're eligible for. If you're eligible for Centrelink, Youth Allowance, AusStudy, and Rent Assistance, they will also support you while you study. So if you believe you might be eligible for Centrelink, reach out to them and they will be able to confirm whether or not you are eligible and what amounts you'll receive while you study. The Commonwealth PRAC payment is something that was handed down in the last federal government budget. So from the 1st of July, eligible domestic students will be able to access this payment. It is $331.63 per week, and it is means tested. It's for students undertaking mandatory placements in bachelor and master's degrees in either social work, teaching, midwifery, nursing, or even the diploma of nursing. There is quite a lot of information on that website. It goes into the income that meets the criteria, and there is also a criteria for people who are working and maybe above that financial limit. So it's worth having a look at it, because quite often when we hear means tested, we think that we need to have quite a low income. But when you look at the website, there's quite a lot of information there around supporting people while they do placement. So have a look at that. Um, it does give you quite a bit of information, and it will apply to anyone starting their course from the 1st of July in those teaching areas. We talked about support and the types of support that we offer at the university. So study support is a big one. When you start at university, particularly in your first semester or two, you might find that you need more support than what you thought, or it could be that you get an assignment that you're finding quite difficult, so you reach out for support. The support comes in a range of student advisors who can help you with your course, planning your course, time management, finding out information that will support you through your study, learning workshops. There is also a 24-hour study support called Studiosity. One of the great types of support is actually what we call PASS, and that is peer-assisted study sessions. So they run in some courses. They're run by students. So they're run by students who have done the units that you're studying, and they've been identified as excelling in those units. So, for example, if you're doing psychology and you're doing a first year psychology unit, your past sessions might be run by a third year psychology student. So they've been where you are, and they often have some really good advice and can support you through that first semester or two of your studies. They're free. You can drop in and drop out. They're not compulsory, but they're certainly there to assist you through your study sessions. We also offer a range of career guidance. So some people come to university and they may need part-time jobs. They may not. They might get to the end of their degree and then go, oh, I've never had a job. I need support with resumes and interview techniques and writing a selection criteria. So there's a whole range of mentors and professionals that can help you with that. You can also register for volunteering opportunities that boost your resume for when you apply. There's a whole range of counselling and wellbeing support. So that is confidential and professional counselling. You can access that whether you're online, face-to-face, via the phone, via Zoom, even via email. So all of these supports are available to students whether they're studying on campus or online. So it's really important that if you're an online student or a student that's studying via distance, that you understand you have exactly the same opportunities and supports available to you as someone who's coming into campus each week. If you are an online student and you live near a campus, you can come into that campus that's closest to you and study. So you will get access just like a student who's studying on campus. So there are a range of ways that students gain access to university. So it might be that you are a student who has completed year 12 and you can apply based on your year 12 studies. It might be that you have done a certificate 3 or a diploma or an associate degree or an associate diploma, a cert 4, that you're then wanting to take the skills that you already have and build on them and develop them further. So it might be that you use those particular qualifications to gain entry to university. There are pathway programs and there are units that you can take that will help you meet the entry requirements. Sometimes that's a matter of completing 1 or 2 units that qualify you for entry. In other cases, it might be that you complete a 1-year pathway program. There's often for students, particularly our adult learner students, it may be that we just want to know a little bit more about what you've been doing and why you want to come to university. So we call that a personal competency statement. So when you submit your application or you get towards the end of your application, the system will tell you if you need to submit a personal competency statement. And that's where you show us how your life experience and the skills and the abilities that you have nurtured and gained throughout your life will actually help you be successful in your bachelor degree or your university course. And there are lots of skills and lots of abilities that people have that can be very useful and transfer across to university studies. So the personal competency statement allows us to dive in a little bit more and get to know you better when we're assessing your application. If you have completed previous study, then you might be eligible for credit. Sometimes we refer to it as RPL, so prior learning. And when you apply for your course and you receive and accept your offer, you can then go in and apply for that credit. So you'll need to apply through the StudyLink portal. So if you've already got your offer and you know that you or you've done a previous qualification, you can step in and apply through StudyLink, upload any transcripts or unit outlines that you might need. If you're transferring from another university, then your transcript from that university and the unit outlines for the subjects that you studied, you just upload those into StudyLink, and then you'll be notified by the team once your application has been processed. The team will go in and update the study plan for your degree. You don't have to add that credit in, they will do it for you. So applying online to the university is really simple. Simply access the UTAS application portal, which is utas.edu.au/apply. You can apply for up to 5 courses once you reach our online application portal. So if you're not sure which course you're eligible for, or if you have a couple of courses that you're sitting on the fence with, you can apply for up to 5. Submit your application online. You'll need to provide some information that we've talked about before, so your transcripts, maybe a personal competency statement. And then once you've submitted your application, our admissions team will review it. If your application is successful, we'll send you an offer to study with us. If you've applied for more than one course, you may receive more than one offer. So you can accept more than one offer if you're unsure and you still want to have a bit more of a think about it, or you can simply accept the offer that you want. Once you've done that, we will email you your UTAS login details, so your UTAS credentials. Every student will have an ID number, a UTAS email, a UTAS username, and a passphrase. Once you have those, you can then go in and choose your units and enroll in your classes for semester. There are enrolment sessions available and you'll be notified about those via email, so you can sign up and get enrolment assistance. You can also call us over the phone or book an appointment through Zoom. You can also go into the campuses to get help as well if you want help enrolling in your units. So we've come to the part of our webinar where we're going to look at some questions. So I will just ask you, Dougal, how we're going. It looks like we've had a question and you've answered it. So this is the time for anyone who has been sitting on a burning question to pop it into the Q&A. As I said before, there are no silly questions, and this is your chance to ask any questions that you might have. So I can see that Saeed has a question. I'm just going to see if I can. Hi, Saeed. You should now be able to ask your question. You'll just need to take yourself off mute. Maybe I can do that. Right. So you'll need to take yourself off mute, Saeed.
Are you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What was your question?
My question is, I am father. I was looking for my daughter.
Yes.
This is doing for my daughter, and she is 35, and she have 12th pass, and she have some courses also, computer course 3 years, and I think 1 year some. It is qualification from online, but also class from UK. It is special need. Course for children, and she have 4 years experience as an assistant teacher in international school and want to study further by face to face if possible.
Okay, so she would need to submit an application online and include the documents from the courses that she has studied, and then her application will be assessed. She could book a Zoom session with someone to talk about the type of courses she wants to study and get some more information. So I'll get Dougal to pop that into the chat so that she can book a time with someone to have a further chat about that.
Yeah, you can send me this all in a email, and I
Uh,
will ask her to book the appointment.
Okay, so if we'll pop it into the chat for you, the booking link where you can make a booking, and then that will allow her to make a booking and we'll be able to talk to her more.
Is she an Australian citizen, Said? Does that all depend on who speaks to her?
It is international, not
Cool.
Australian.
Yeah.
International
Cool.
student.
Okay, no worries.
Yep.
So we'll
Yep.
get your details, Saeed, and we'll send you through some information.
Yeah.
No worries. Thank you for your question.
Yeah. So international school is international student is allowed for this
Sorry, international is,
student.
yes. So we'll send you the information for your daughter so that she can be put in touch with the correct people.
Okay. So you give me information by email.
Yes,
Okay, that's nice.
no worries. Thank you for your
Uh,
question.
yeah. Thank you so much. It is nice to talk you,
No
and
worries.
I am very interested. I'm very glad to if my daughter have admission to study there, Australia. I like very much Australia, and I visited last year, June to October, Sydney, because my kids, one is living in Sydney, one living in Melbourne.
That, that's lovely.
I
Saeed,
love
I'm going to have
Australia.
to, I'm really appreciate all your comments. I'm just going to have to answer some more questions if that's okay, because we've got quite a few coming through.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your input.
thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm just checking the chat now, and it looks like Kate's question,
That's all right.
you've
I am
answered
going to
that one.
organise a one-on-one. I think that's a little too complex for this, so I
Yes.
will. I'll touch base with Kate, and I'm sure we can work through that.
Okay, so Shelley has asked a question about the online learning portal and to see what it's like before enrolling. So I'm not quite sure. Students normally get access to our online learning platform once they are students. We could certainly arrange for you to have a look at it, but it wouldn't be you going in and playing around. We could certainly step you through some of that. Basically, it's like most online teaching platforms. Your individual units will show in Milo, and you'll go into each of those individual units, and there'll be a unit outline for each one. You'll be able to access week by week your classes. You'll see everything for the semester. It's where you submit your assessments. But what we might try and do is find a link that might give a bit more information about Milo and provide that to you, Shelley, because, yeah, I understand why you would want to have a look at that. And Kate, the Centrelink question, it's really not our place to answer whether or not someone is eligible for Centrelink as a full-time student or not. So basically, we are advised by Centrelink that students, if you need to be considered full-time in order to receive Centrelink, then full-time is 75 to 100%. But everyone's situation is different, which is why we would totally want you to talk to Centrelink and get advice directly from them about your individual situation. Okay, so I can see Dougal's also answering that question. Do we have any other questions?
I have a question, Justine.
Yes, Dougal.
I presume I can just find Kate's email out from the list of registrations we have somewhere. Yeah, that should be pretty easy. And Saeed, rather than
Unless
asking
you
them.
unless you pop our email address in for the future students and get them to email directly.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
That way we can. And
Thanks, Kate.
oh,
That's cool.
thanks, Kate. That's
Yep.
great. Um, very
Yeah.
organized, Kate. So Shelley, I'm just going to have a look and see if I can find the information that you were looking for. So that might be another one, Shelley, where we'll need to get your details so we can send you through more information about our Milo system. So Dougal, if you could note Shelley's details as well, then
Yep.
or send her
Yep.
the email, then we'll be able to get that information to Shelley. I know that it's something that I would want to know as well if I was about to study, particularly online. Okay, do we have, yes, Ben, we have another question here from Ben. You've accepted a Bachelor of Media and Communication. Is it better to enroll all of your units? Oh, okay. So when you start in semester 2, you can only enroll in your units for this academic year. So you, Ben, would enroll for semester 2, and then next year or towards the end of this year, you'll be able to enroll in your 2026 unit. So we only get you to enroll in the current year. You don't have to pick all 3 years. Yeah, so just this upcoming semester. Then Himabines, we've got, I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. So you studied a Master of Biotechnology. I'm not quite sure. Oh, okay. So you'd like to study nursing. You can definitely apply. It would depend on nursing applications for 2026 opened yesterday. So you can certainly apply online. We only have an intake into nursing in February every year, but you can definitely apply. I guess one of the questions I would have is whether you're applying as a domestic student or an international student, as you apply in different ways. So if you are an international student, go to the international application portal. And if you're a domestic student, then to the domestic portal. You can find them both on our website, and then you'll just need to upload your documents. Summer classes. So I can see that Dougal's answering that one, so I'll leave that alone. So pracs for the Master of Teaching actually start in your first year. So once you've done the prerequisite subjects, it's quite different depending on if you're studying full-time or part-time. We can arrange, Kate, now that we have your email address, to send you a study plan for the Master of Teaching, which actually shows you where each of the pracs sit. So we'll do that rather than go into it here. We'll send that through to you if that's okay, Dougal. We'll add that to Kate's list as well, just a Master of Teaching study plan. You can also find them on the Course and Unit webpage as well. When you go to the Master of Teaching Course and Unit page, down on the right, there should be a link straight to the course planner, which will tell you when all your pracs are. There's also a great prac site for the School of Education that gives you more information as well. Do we have any other questions? Yes, we do. Oh, okay, Kate. So what I would suggest too is once you've got Dougal's email, if you do still have further questions, at the bottom of that email will be a link to book a Zoom meeting with one of us if you would like to then have a one-on-one.
I'm actually organising that right now.
Ah,
Justine, I'm
legend.
just flicking Kate an email now. So,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go, Kate. Dougal's looking after you. You'll be all good. Okay, so the latest time to enroll in electives, I would strongly advise students to be enrolled by the start of semester. It makes it so much easier for you. If you are already accepted in your course, then you've certainly got time between now and then to select your electives and enroll in them. Some schools will let you enroll up until 2 weeks after the start of semester, but that means you're starting 2 weeks behind. So the sooner you can have your electives locked in and enrolled in them, the easier that will be for you when you're planning your semester. But basically, it depends on the school, but I would strongly suggest that you have your electives and are enrolled in them by the first week of semester. I'm loving all these questions. They're great. So we'll just give you a couple more minutes to fire some more questions in there if you do have them. If you think of something at 3 o'clock in the morning, then you can email us or you can give us a call tomorrow. You can also, as I said, book an appointment. If you're a domestic student, you can book appointments via Zoom. And if you're close to a campus, you can also just drop by and ask your questions depending on your preference. So our UConnect staff are available to answer any questions for the public from the public. Looks like overseas opportunities. That's a great question, Kate. So there are a range of opportunities for students to study overseas depending on the course that they are studying in. So if you're in a course that has a lot of choice, unfortunately, education and teaching is not one of those courses, Kate, but that doesn't mean that you don't have opportunity. If you're in a course that has a lot of electives, then there's the opportunity to apply for UniGo, which is a fully funded undergraduate overseas experience. If you are in a course where you don't have a lot of choice, it could be that you apply to go on exchange for 6 months, or it could be that you apply to do one of your professional placements overseas. There is quite a lot of information on our website, and I'm sure that Dougal will include that in that email that he's typing frantically now to you, Kate. Oh, okay. So good question, Shelley. Did you answer that? Did someone else answer?
Sorry, I did just answer that. I said
You're
yes,
just too good.
that is often and I'd almost say usually the case. It just
Yes.
depends on the units you're doing, but yes, they are often recorded or online. That's what I'm looking for. Interactive online kind of stuff
Yes.
as well, whether it be tutors, lectures, all that kind of stuff. Yes, there's a number, but it does depend on the unit.
Yes.
Which you can find the teaching pattern, but it's probably not the place right now to show you how to do that. I'll be showing Kate that when we catch up. If anybody else needs, I did just put the email address in that answer. Now, you will also be getting an email after this. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 days or whatever. You will actually everyone will get an email after this webinar with the future student contact details in it. However, if you want to, if you do want to email us in the meantime, it's just future, future, dot students, students, at utas.edu.au. But you will get an email with those. Everyone will get an email with those contact details in the meantime. But if you can't wait, just flick that through. I'll be checking that tomorrow and we can make an appointment or whatever you need.
Thank you so much, Dougal. And thank you to everyone that joined the webinar tonight and for all your really great questions. We hope that you found this webinar really valuable. And as Dougal said, you will get an email from us over the next 4 days, which includes a link to the recording for this webinar as well. So please reach out if you do have any more questions and have a great night.